Okay. So, anybody wants to jump in and say something about, asking a question to Ryan? Um, yeah.
Yeah, I've known Ryan for about 11 years, and I really love his passion for social justice and all sort of things in terms of uh, equitable policy and supporting people um, with with programs that can help people get ahead. So I thought housing might be something he'd be interested in since we're, looking for members. He lives in the village of Freeville, which is a little bit diverse for us, so that's important. But in the village, right? Is that right, Ryan?
I live on Yellow Barn, so I live
On
right above
Yellow.
the village. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And that Ryan, you had asked me about Pathstone, and just as a point of information, we were talking offline with somebody from Hillside Acres that briefly had expressed an interest in a resident-owned cooperative. So I got in touch with Pathstone, and they were. It turns out they're not working actively with new manufactured home park
Okay.
communities at this point. So that was kind of the extent of it. But I knew of their work in the past, and um, so, and you said you had worked with them?
Yeah, because I used to work with Rochester People's Climate Coalition, which is now the Climate Solutions Accelerator of the Genesee Valley region. And so I just know that we partner with Pastone a little bit to help retrofit houses to be better, I guess, to that they're better insulated. And I know that that's something that could really help a lot of houses here in Dryden that might need that retrofitting.
That's great.
Good. Um, Anyone else has something to add to? If not, I will again recommend just to advance the application to the town board for approval, and that's it.
Well,
Uh,
I'm happy that I'm eager and happy to support that. Can we do that with, I mean, Tony, are you an actual member of our committee? I think you are.
yes.
So then we probably do have a quorum.
I think well, I think I'm supposed to be the liaison from the planning board to the
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So now we do, and
Great.
Mike is here. So why don't we just I move to advance Ryan's application to become another community member in our committee for final voting on the town board.
I'll second that.
Everyone for approval. So it's passed. So
Thank you all very much.
welcome, Ryan.
Glad to be here.
Well, it's still got to
Okay,
get by the town board, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Again, we come back to the August minutes approval. We do have a quorum now, so I will move the August September minutes to be approved.
We had
We
August and September because we didn't have a quorum in September, I think it was.
didn't we?
Or the August minutes weren't ready yet when we met in September. So we have two sets to approve.
I thought we approved that. Well, anyway, yes, let's do approve August and September. I wasn't there in the meeting or not?
You
No,
weren't there in
I
September.
wasn't in the meeting. That's
Yeah.
why I can
Yeah.
recall. Okay.
I'll move both to minutes.
All right. So everyone favor approval?
Aye.
Okay. So we advance both August and September.
And I just want to say, Lauren does a terrific job. It's really so
it's pretty thorough.
helpful.
Yeah.
You can he tells a story. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than we do anyway. Sometimes. Okay, so let's go for the I wanted to have Shaq for this conversation because since he's our appointee and at the SAC committee, he could give us a little more insight. But he sent a long email earlier, pointing out to the issues surrounding not only the data center as such, but also the connection with housing as especially affordable housing as a priority of the comprehensive plan. So I will open up. Tony, I know you had asked for a little time to um, give us some more information. So I'm happy to give
Yeah,
you
I
the
just,
floor.
there were some things that came out. I just wanted to give just a little bit more information about what what we're talking about as far as data centers and things are concerned in the draft data law. Is it possible for me to share my screen?
Yeah,
Co-host now.
Okay, thank you. I want this screen. So one of the things that was sent along, when I get this sharing here, you can see my screen now, right?
Yes, you can see it.
One of the things that was sent along was this graphic here that Brad had shared at the ZAG meeting, and it essentially draws a half-mile distance around the light industrial district, in particular the one light industrial district that is by NYSEG. And there's a concern, I guess, that data centers somehow will adversely affect everything within this sort of hashed zone here that is shown on this graphic. So this is the area we're talking about. The draft zoning registration, the zoning code, and the recommendations to the town board from the planning board put severe restrictions on data centers. In fact, I believe the restrictions on data centers are even greater than they are for other properties within the light industrial zone. One of the biggest concerns about data centers is their energy draw and noise, right? The 24/7 noise of their cooling towers and whatever to cool them. Just for reference, a 5,000 square foot maximum building, which is which is a limitation we put in the code. This upscale remodeling building right here on Route 13, this one is a 5,000 square foot building. So that's the size building we're talking about. Okay, smaller than the Dollar General. It's this building is actually 50 by 100, which is 5,000 square foot. And it is currently sitting, just for an idea of setback, that building is sitting about 130 feet back from the road. So this is about 130 feet from the road to the building. But you notice in the light industrial zone here, the setbacks are not really existent. Like, for example, the Dollar General sits right on the property line. There's really no setback at all. These buildings are not set back. And actually, since this satellite image was taken, there's actually another building back here behind this mobile home park, and they want to put another. There was a plan to put another building in here, closer to the, well, I think with a 25-foot setback. So just my point is that when we look at the light industrial zone, some things that were put into this code for data centers, as we did talk about at the last one, is 100-foot setbacks, which, like many things in the light industrial zone, don't have any setbacks or are small setbacks. And when we talk about noise generation, the other thing is it's limited to 500 square, or excuse me, 5,000 square feet. 5,000 square feet, 1 megawatt. We also put a power rating on the data center so that it's limited to 1 megawatt. Now, these are small data centers. These are not the million square foot you know, Amazon, Oracle, AI type data centers, right? That are, you know, these huge warehouses. And so, you know, those you can't do. We just the way the thing is written, you wouldn't be able to do it. The other piece about the legislation or about the code is that it is putting it through the special use permit, so they would have to do it through a special use permit, which gives us the ability to do things like require a noise study. It would be one thing that would be in the rules. And so and placement on the property and all those kind of things can be done in ways to mitigate things like noise. Also for reference, within this light industrial zone is this substation. Substation transformers of the size that are used in this substation are rated at between 60 and 80 decibels, which is roughly the same noise range that you're looking at for the cooling pieces of a 5,000 square foot data center. So this exists in the light industrial zone right now. I actually was there today. I wanted to see what it sounded like. And, you know, if you stand here on the road, there is a significant hum coming from this substation. You know, how it sounds as you get back, say, over to this property or back here to the mobile homes or down the road, you know, that's, it's certainly not a half mile that you're hearing this thing, I guess is what I'm trying to say, right? So this isn't the same. The other thing you have within this light industrial zone is this Wiggins Plastics, which is also Knickerbocker. This has a significant amount of noise generating air handlers and other equipment on the outside of the building. I actually went today and sat right here on this corner, and there's a bunch of air handlers on the side of that building. You can see them here, right? So if you're sitting there, there's a fair amount of noise coming off that building. That building also draws a lot more power than 1 megawatt. That's, you know, it's a manufacturing facility. They're doing thermal plastic molding and all this other stuff. That building draws huge amounts of power. And I'm not saying, you know, I guess my point is that whatever you do around figuring out how to situate nodal housing development around this light industrial zone, my point is I don't think data centers are the worst of your problem. I think you need to take the whole light industrial zone into consideration about how you situate it or set it up with the fact that the light industrial zone is there. The other thing that's in the registration or that's in the code is that there can only be one within each of these light industrial zones. So it's not like somebody could build 5,000 square feet data centers within this space. Martha.
Thanks, Tony. This is really helpful. What about the best proposal, the battery storage proposal? I thought there was a proposal for something near here, or there'd be several proposals, and my concern is kind of cumulative impact.
Right.
Of you know, you put a little of this and a little of that. So that's one question, and then before to go back to mute. Last meeting, or maybe it was August, Gina Cassidy pointed out that in the tax bill that the Republicans passed in the summer, there was an issue about municipalities or states not being able to regulate data centers at all. So if maybe Gina has an update on that after you talk.
That there was a provision in the big beautiful bill related to that. It did not make it into the final bill that passed.
Okay, so there's that. There is no new restriction
Correct.
on
There's
municipal.
no new restrictions on local municipalities around regulating data centers.
Okay, great. Thanks for that.
It didn't
Okay.
get in there. The battery storage proposal that you're talking about was actually over here. It wasn't in the light industrial zone because this isn't light industrial.
Mm-hmm.
It was off of, it was just the other side of this. I think there's a power line that runs through this section right here. As I recall, I don't have the drawings right in front of me, but as I recall, it was sitting back in here.
Mm-hmm.
But you're absolutely right, is that the big issues on that one are going to be fire access and the concerns about lithium ion batteries and noise, because a battery facility is going to have transformers. It's going to have a hum to it. So again, we need to, there needs to be a noise study and all those kind of things. There is a separate battery. We are doing a separate zoning code update related to battery storage. So that will have its own code around it. And noise is certainly in that as a consideration. And in fact, in our code that we're talking about for data centers, there is under the SUP section, there are provisions for noise, and that it has to meet certain noise guidelines, and that there has to be a noise study. So there's, because that's really because we're limiting to 1 megawatt, the real concern is water consumption. Oh, there's also a provision about type of water. It can't use single pass water cooling, meaning where you're taking water out of the ground and passing it through cooling and dumping it. You have to use a closed loop system or air cooled systems or something along those lines. You can't just suck water out of the ground and use it for cooling and dump it, right? So that's they can't use single pass cooling systems. So there was a lot of thought put into making it so that we don't get those things that I think would be detrimental to the town, which are things like the very large data centers and whatnot, but allowing certain types of use. And one of the challenges with this was, in looking at this, is it's like, how does this differ from other types of businesses that may go into the light industrial zone? And because we don't put power restrictions on those, we don't put 100-foot setback restrictions on those for the most part, and so there's those kind of questions that we kind of struggled with, is how do we treat these in the overall scheme of what's in the light industrial zones, I guess is what we're trying to say. We did make it so that they can only be in the light industrial zones. So you can't put them anywhere else. But it does allow for these small data centers to be in these areas. Oh, and the cooling load, just for reference, the cooling load for the cooling load for a 1 megawatt data center would be roughly 284 tons. So figure a 300 ton, you need about 300 ton cooling capacity for a 1 megawatt data center. 300 ton, as far as industrial cooling goes, not a big one. I would bet there's probably 300 ton units on this building here, but they're not huge. They're certainly much bigger than your heat pumps that you see on the side of a house, but they're not those monster, like towers that people are used to seeing. And they do generate noise in the 60 to 85 decibel range. So it's certainly, noise is certainly a consideration. And so you have the setbacks. And so I guess if there was a situation where they wanted to put one like right on the edge of the light industrial zone, where it borders, say, a residential zone, you certainly would want to have noise considerations be taken into account. So that's really all I had, unless people had other questions about it. I just wanted to make sure that I just wanted to talk a little bit about what we were talking about these data centers being, to not confuse everything else. Yes.
The question, how
Yeah.
did you come about with the 1 meg? I mean, why not a 2? Why not a 3? Because
Well,
I
it's the
know
same, kind of the same way we came to 5,000 square feet is that it's really kind of arbitrary. We looked at the various types of data centers, and 5,000 square foot, 1 megawatt is at the upper end of what's considered a small data center. And we didn't want to get up into the mid-size data centers. And we did debate, there were those that thought it should be smaller. Should it be 2,500 square foot and half a megawatt, so we kind of had a lot of discussion around, how to end up, where to end up. I guess we just kind of felt that we had to put the limit somewhere, and like I said, 5,000 square feet, 1 megawatt is at the upper end of the small data center.
Okay.
Tony,
So
isn't that,
is
is at the lower end? Doesn't 20,000 square feet still considered a small data center? So
They are.
5,000 square feet's at the lower end of the small data
Sorry,
center.
yes, it's at the lower end of it. It's at the lower end of a small data center. Yes, we did talk about 10,000 square feet, but the real concern, and the reason we didn't want to go over a megawatt in the power is because there's this concern about putting in something, and it's going to be a concern. Let's say some other company like Knickerbocker wanted to come in to a building that didn't already exist. I mean, you'd have to look at the power usage there, and the concern is that if you start drawing the power usage for industrial use, that you may not have it for to be able to build more housing or especially multi-unit housing and those kind of things. So we tried to allow them for like research and possible other uses, but the Microsofts and the Amazons, with the restrictions where they are, the Microsofts and the Amazons and the Oracles, they wouldn't bother. These are just too small.
is it big enough to encourage the businesses that would be using this type of thing? I mean,
Like
I don't
research
want
and that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, I mean, a 5,000 square foot, 1 megawatt data center is you can do quite a bit with it as far as research, and I mean, you could even do some crypto mining with it, although I would hope that's not what people come in and do, but yeah.
So do we have any restriction?
We
It's
do
in
define
lighting,
it. We do
but as
define
we're
it.
like the street that we have where they would build them, so is there a restriction? You can't have 5 in this one light industry section, or
Yes, there can only be one data center in each of the light industrial zones.
how many do we have?
No.
How many data centers do? Oh, light industrial zones, there's 2. There's
Okay.
the one here, and then there's the other one is over here off of Hanshaw. It's like here's where 84 lumber is, and
Okay.
this section
So
along Route
basically, what
13.
we're looking at the two potential units.
Potential somewhere in this space right here. Well, and the other point I'd make is they're right along Route 13, which is probably the biggest noise generator through that section is Route 13.
Okay.
Yet, there was an argument that maybe we're being too restrictive. But given the feedback we had from the ZEG, I mean, there are people that are unhappy with this, with what we came up with. They think they would like to see us just ban data centers. And so, really these numbers ended up sort of being the compromise. It allows it to be something that's useful, that could be used for things like research and other things, right? Or supporting businesses. But it's, you can't, like, you're not going to put a it's not going to be like what they're talking about doing in Lansing with the power center there, right? The power plant there where they want to turn it into a very large crypto mining facility. I don't think, I really don't think we want those kind of things in these areas, right? Because I think the negative impacts on housing is significant.
So what kind of power regulation will have to sort of restrict even crypto mining? In fact, we did have somebody come in a few months ago with a proposal to do
We
that.
did. So if that person came back, the problem is they wouldn't be able to use the building they were proposing because it's not in the light industrial zone. So they wouldn't be
Right,
able to,
right.
they were proposing. And there would be restrictions on it. They could, you know, with the size of the building they were planning on using, that crypto mining facility could probably go in. Although with the special use permit, we are asking questions about use, and there's a whole thing about what's the benefit to the community and all that kind of stuff. And if you're putting in an AI type data center that's going to be used for research and business, well, you can argue there's a really good benefit to the community, right? Even though it doesn't generate a whole lot of jobs. Whereas a crypto mining facility, I think it's a lot harder to justify. Although, you know, they could argue that it's all the tax base, but, you know, give some money to the town. But the problem really is that the hardware used for AI data centers and the hardware used for crypto mining data centers are exactly the same.
Exactly. So you know, this open up the possibility of having all, you know, this crypto mining sort of projects coming in, no data center properly.
It's possible, although it is defined in the code as crypto mining. And if they come in and say they're going to use it for crypto mining, then you know, it's through the special use permit, it could be denied, right? But the problem is if they put one of these in and they just start using it for crypto mining, I don't know that we would have any way of knowing that.
So we bring us to the code enforcement kind of capabilities that we have as a town.
Right. Martha, you have your hand up. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Could you go back to to Brad's diagram that included
Mm-hmm.
the outline of the light
Yep.
industrial zone?
Yeah, let's see. I had that. This. I can, I don't know if I can zoom it in anymore.
Right, so yeah, even when we got it directly, it was really hard to see.
Well,
Yeah.
this looks like it was a picture taken of the thing you had up on the screen. I'll have to see if I can get an electronic version of this to get a better zone of it. But see here, this blue is the light, and this is the light industrial
Mm-hmm.
here. And this over here is the property that we're looking at. This area over here is the property you're talking about the
Yeah.
RFP for, right?
Right.
Yes.
So, and what Brad did for this is I think he drew a half mile from the light industrial zone. So
Mhm.
you know, a half mile is, you know, quite a ways in all directions from that zone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
So
sure.
here, one of the things when the housing committee looked at Nan Stolzenberg's comments for her what was the document back in February. One of the things we wanted to encourage was mixed use housing that could actually go within the light industrial zone. You know, depending on, for example, because I'm pretty sure the NICEAG building itself is in that zone, right?
It is, yes.
Okay, that's the,
It is, yeah.
okay.
Actually,
For,
I was on it yesterday. Let me see if I can bring it up here real quick. There's a better way to look at it, I think.
okay.
That's Village. Oh no, that's not. That's not the right one.
It's like watching you think.
I know, sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah, up here, hold on.
Well, just while you're doing that,
Yep.
because we have thought that that whole intersection, even closer to NYSEG than the Leonardo parcel, but like all right around there could really have the potential of sort of being a village, being a real functioning node. And as you know, there are apartments going up just to the west of the intersection there on 366. And so we're hoping that the new zoning would certainly allow and perhaps even encourage housing to go into light industrial zones. So this kind of raises a little bit of a problem. If we're going to end up discouraging that, that would really be
Well,
a
and like I
shame.
said, I think you've got. Sorry, my computer's being a little funky at the moment. So I agree, if you're gonna put them within the light industrial zone, if you're gonna put housing within the light industrial zone. But you already have that issue because like I said, this building here is, this building here is pretty noisy.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the substation, you've got the Etna substation right here,
Mm-hmm.
right, which generates some noise. But again, I think you can, let's say, for example, there was a thought to develop this property back here, because this is within the light industrial, right? And this is the NYSEG building and the NYSEG property, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say there was a thought to build back here. I mean, certainly there are things that can be done for noise mitigation, right? So, and I think that I think the current zoning ordinance says that nighttime noise levels can't be more than 65 decibels at the property, at the edge of the property, which 65 decibels is about normal conversation volume.
That's for any use in the light industrial?
Well, I think that's part of the noise ordinance.
Okay.
But and one of the things we did in the data center code is we referenced the noise ordinance, is that they had to noise levels could not exceed those that are allowed in the noise ordinance.
Okay.
And they do ask for a noise study. And again, how you place these cooling things around the building and whatnot, so you put them on the opposite side of the building from where residents might be, that kind of stuff. That's all stuff that can be done in the site plan review for the special use permit.
Okay, and you said under, when you talked about the special use permit review, you said they could require a noise study. Are they required to, or
I think it does. I think it states that there needs to be a noise study.
Okay,
I can double check that though.
all right,
Um,
that'd be important.
yeah.
Tony, I could pull up the
No,
noise ordinance if you want.
Okay. But the other thing is that I don't know that if you look at this light industrial zone, other than this area back here, I don't know where you would put housing.
Right, well, one thing is the NYSEG building itself, if we could ever
Right.
shake
Right.
that loose, but yeah, you're right. Would you mind scooching the map up to the Hanshaw Road?
Yep, this
zone?
one. Now this one certainly has some area that you could do mixed use, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because all of this, there's nothing on right now, right? So,
Mhm.
and there's a little bit of space in here, but not a whole lot. And you already have a little bit because this is, so the yellow I believe is rural residential.
Yep.
So these properties are all rural residential,
Mhm.
and these are the blue is the light industrial.
What's the dark blue on the north side? What
It's
is that?
also I think that's also light industrial. Let's see, so this property,
Isn't that Cornell land?
is there an adult entertainment overlay? Because this is light industrial adult. This
Really?
one is light industrial. Okay, that's the difference. The town apparently years ago decided that they did some zoning around adult entertainment, right?
Mhm.
And so the place where it ended up is in these
That's good. Yeah.
in this darker blue area. So
Mhm.
off the end of the runway, you can put you can put some adult entertainment, right? But those are
Well,
those are the only two light industrials in the town.
okay,
Oops.
so the question about that one, however, and I'm intrigued to hear that that's the case. Well, you're in the Hudson Valley now. Where are you?
Yeah, how way down there? Something
Um,
moved, didn't it?
yeah. Um, I I think we had a conversation with Jeremy Thomas from Cornell Real Estate, gosh, back in January, about land over in that section. And
Yeah.
they own like a lot of that. And isn't that the section, Gina, isn't that which one is Hanshaw there?
Right.
So Hanshaw, this is Hanshaw, this blue line.
That's Hanshaw.
That's Hanshaw.
Oh, the Cornell site, the Cornell land, maybe, Gina, correct me if I'm wrong, is to the east, on the east side of Hanshaw?
This
Yes.
is all Cornell land in here. Yep.
Yeah.
And
I don't
who owns,
I don't know who owns all this. This is 84 Lumber is right
uh-huh,
here. And then the other places that are there by 84 Lumber.
mm-hmm.
I don't know who owns these lots.
Okay, because we talked at length with Jeremy and Gina and Ray were maybe going to follow up about that parcel to the east because he sounded like they would definitely be willing to look at that for housing.
Mhm.
It's, being adjacent right across 13 from water and sewer and with the impetus to bring water and sewer up to, or to enhance the sewer up to the manufactured home park there. There was,
They're working on bringing sewer to the manufactured home park right now, where we just submitted a CDBG application.
So
Right.
that would bring it like from here. Does it like because it exists here, right? So it would bring it from here to here, out to
right.
Yeah.
So there was interest in like, well, maybe that's like a real opportunity there.
Right.
So, all right, but you're saying those areas, so it's interesting to look at the zoning there, although it hasn't been, there haven't been applications, right? There's not anything burgeoning at this point.
There's nothing burgeoning at this point, but this
Mhm.
this zone, so potentially you could end up with one day under this code as it's drafted. Potentially you could end up with one 5,000 square foot data center in this area and one in the NYSEG area. You could potentially end up with one in each place. Although around
No.
NYSEG, like I said, unless they put it on NYSEG property, there really isn't much around there for land in the NYSEG area.
Okay.
But the but that's the potential.
Mhm.
And to tell you the truth, somebody that wants to put in a significant data center, they're going to look at that and they're going to go, nah, we'll go elsewhere, right? But
Yeah. Unless they wanted a nightclub on top of it.
unless they want a nightclub on top of it, yeah, maybe they do a data center with it, yeah, with something
Yeah.
All
by
right,
it. But
thanks a lot. I really appreciate the education.
and again, my main goal was not to. I mean, the discussions you want to have about the RFP related to what to do with the nodal development, absolutely, you know, take all these things into consideration. And if you have recommendations for, you know, because this is going to go, you know, the draft for the data center law is going to go to the town board, or the resolution is going to the town board. The town board will take it up. They'll have to have a public hearing. Housing committee can certainly weigh in more if they, you know, if they think we should be more or less restrictive. I'm sure it's not going to be less restrictive, but they can certainly weigh in on it. I just wanted to make sure there was a good understanding of what this draft is proposing, and how, and the fact that if you're looking at nodal development in that area, I think you really need to take the whole light industrial zone and what's already there into consideration when you're looking at these. At this.
Absolutely.
Right. It's called industrial for a reason.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
called light industrial for a reason.
It's not parkland.
Right, exactly right.
Yeah.
So that was, I just, that was the only thing I wanted to do, was just kind of clarify some of those things. And
So the resolution will come to the board most likely in December, right?
no, actually, I'm gonna send it within the next couple days.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
it'll, I mean, the resolution will come to the board hopefully in October, and then you guys will need to, the town board will need to set a public hearing and all that stuff. So
I
so
mean,
likely
yeah.
it won't get taken up until December, because I think
Yes, yes,
November
it
is
was- that's
November
what I
is
meant.
like budget time, right? You're in the middle of budget time and all that. But
Right,
by
right,
having the resolution from the planning board, you'll be able to set the public hearing and all that other stuff
right, right.
for it. But yes, it probably will not be fully taken up by the town
Until
board
December.
until December is my guess. But the resolution from the planning board to the town board should be arriving in the next couple of days.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tony. Really appreciate your comments and the information.
This has been great. And really, Tony, we invite you to like really be part of this committee as the liaison.
Yeah, right. We need you here.
I muted and then I was talking, sorry. I would like to, I plan on, the problem is being 2:00 on a work day, at least
This-
until March. I'm planning on retiring in March, so that'll be better. But if I can, you know, if I'm like today, I didn't have a meeting at 2, so if I'm free and can do it, I will join on. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for joining. All right. Anyone else want to add to the conversation? No?
Well, that certainly seems reasonable.
It seems reasonable, right?
Yeah,
Um,
and I agree with if there's an enforceable distinction about data centers, of data centers versus crypto mining. Crypto mining seems like totally a use we don't need. Thank you very much. But
But
we're all
I'm afraid though that, you know, so the regulation with all the, you know, the thoughtful kind of framework in which it's done, it won't close down the possibility of having these crypto mining, you know, projects coming in. Right, Tony?
I mean, it's a use, and as long if they state the use, we can certainly deny it. It's the problem is, and I think my understanding is there's somebody in Freeville that set up a small operation within their building that nobody knows about that's doing
Yeah.
crypto mining, and
Hmm.
the question becomes, how do you know, there's these certain things that we're just not going to be able to, and enforcement is certainly a concern, right? Is how do you enforce it? But even if you have a ban, you know what I mean? It's so they say the building's gonna do this thing, but now it's gonna do something else, right? Those things can happen, and the town has, one of the things we talked about, and one of the recommendations that's gonna go forward is we did want to make sure that it's not in the current draft, but we want to make sure it's in what the town board considers is an enforcement piece that laid out you know, if you do not follow the site plan, if you do not follow the provisions of the special use permit, that, you know, you can lose your special use permit, right? Is one of the, you know, whatever the enforcement action is, you know, whether it's fines, whether it's, you know, you can lose your special use permit, and have to shut down, right? Those kind of things. I think that should be spelled out in the regulation, so that there isn't the question of enforcement later, right? I mean, if we put it in that way, then it's, they say if you don't adhere to these things, you can lose your special use permit. I mean, I think that's sort of, I think special use permits certainly can be pulled, right? I mean, I think that's part of the process, but I think it would be better if it was specified right in the code that this is a enforcement for not following the provisions of the special use permit.
Is it already there in the first draft or not?
Well, I think I think that in the special use process, there is a, you know, there is a provision. I don't know, I'd have to read it. I don't know what the enforcements are.
It's pretty open at the moment, I think.
We'll have to, yeah, well, but that's one of the things we're talking about in the whole zoning rewrite process. Is one of the frustrations has been enforcement, right? Is, you know, so we do site plan reviews. Either the town board does a site plan review for a special use permit, or the planning board does site plan reviews. People don't adhere to them, and then you have to enforce them, and enforcement is difficult, and in some cases very costly, right? And all those kind of things. So it's, how do we, one of the things we've talked about in all of this process is how do we improve enforcement? If we're going to go through the process of rewriting all the zoning code, how do we improve the enforcement of those codes?
We send Ryan in because he lives in Freeville. He has to go in and do a sting.
There you go. There you go.
That's great. That'd be help, even if there's then the question of how do you find out, but at least you have a penalty in there.
I mean, you would
Yep.
hope that when people come in for the special use permit, that they're going to give you all the information about what they plan on doing in the facility, right? And all of that. It's, so, you know, hopefully you have all the information, but like I said, the hardware is the same, and all it is
Yep.
is, you know, flipping a switch, and, you know, now I'm doing AI data processing, or research data processing, or cloud storage, or something, and then I flip a switch and now I'm doing crypto mining, right? And it's,
Right.
you know,
So that's the issue.
yeah.
Pay more.
I mean, it's not like fracking where you know what they're doing, right? And it's very easy to define what they're doing, right? You know, so.
Mhm.
All right,
I
then
guess-
let's switch to the RFP that we need to clean up a little, and then provide this to the town board for for as a resolution. No, Martha, thank you. Martha did a bunch of made a bunch of comments, and I tried to print it out and I couldn't get them. So if somebody has them that we can look at them, that would be nice.
Gina, is that what you have? Because
Yeah, can you see my screen?
yeah, but we're just seeing your list of files.
Yes.
Oh, it's the wrong screen. Okay, let's see.
So,
The
Share.
RFP was up for a moment, but it didn't look like the comments were on there.
Let's see. I don't know why it's not showing. Three. Give me a moment.
I've got it if you want me to pull it, show it.
No, let's see, screen one, share. How about now?
There we go. The first comment was partway down the first page. So it's not there.
See if
Yeah,
I can
that was
pull
my
up.
issue too. I couldn't see them, but
You show comments. Show markup.
Who is
I don't
on
know why it's not
edit?
showing your comments.
All right, I've got it. If I can
Yeah.
share.
If you want to just tell me what to change, I will do that.
Can I share my screen?
Sure. I gotta
Okay.
give you co-host capability. Just a second.
What's your cat's name?
His name is FDR2D2.
That's a lot. Let me see. All right.
If you're interested, check out Bernie Sandwars. It's on YouTube. It's the best, I say 2016, I don't know, movie, if you want to say that.
Okay. All right. So you can see that. Can everybody see that?
I can see it.
Okay. So the first comment there is on the third bullet. I have to move your faces over. We're seeking to create a walkable community with diverse housing options within it. For example, rentals as well as for sale. I wanted to be a little bit more specific on that point. If that's just a small addition. If that'd be okay. The next one has to do with public engagement. You've named it a few times. You have a few places where you want the consultant to run public meetings and that sort of thing. And my comment here, and it shows up in a couple of other places too. It seems premature to involve the public at this point when site control is still an issue. I'm all for community engagement, but worry that at this time it could create misunderstandings and unrealistic expectations. Plus, I'd rather the consultants spent the limited time we can pay for in working on the bulleted list above.
Well,
So,
Martha, I think that makes perfect sense. I modeled this on the comprehensive plan RFP. And, I did some extensive changes on it, but I didn't take out the public participation. But now that you pointed it out, I see, yeah, this is not the right point for public
right,
participation.
right. Yeah.
okay, I worry it could even put us at risk of legal action if we're out there and it's under court discussion and somebody's litigating, who knows what the status is, and they see that we're running public meetings about how we're going to use their land.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, striking all the references in there to public participation, to me, it makes sense.
Okay, great. All right, so then that takes us.
Sorry to interrupt, Mark. I do need to drop off. I'm sorry.
All
This
right,
is
so
very
fine.
interesting.
Thank you.
I did read through this, and Martha, I read through your comments. I thought everything looked good. But
Yeah.
just my comment.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
See it, Tony?
Thanks.
Thank you.
So this next comment, you've got, you want the consultant to familiarize themselves with all of these documents. It feels like that could take like a couple weeks worth of paid time. So, and again, if this is just pulled from the RFP for the comp plan or for something else, or the zoning, that would make more sense. But
I just put all of the plans that I could find on there, and then you can pick and choose what you want to leave.
okay, all right, great. The Vital Communities Project, I sort of remember that, but that's 23 years old. Is it still relevant?
I did not review all of these plans. I just listed them.
Okay, all right. Well, let's pull a couple of them out there. I think the 2005 comp plan. So starting from the top, then I wouldn't go back to 2002 or 2003. The comp plan from 2005, maybe because it's got the Varna plan. On the other hand, we're talking about one parcel. So I'm not sure about that third one. The Route 13 corridor management plan, yes, absolutely. That should be in there. The recreation master plan seems irrelevant.
know.
The Tompkins County comp plan would be, I think, relevant because that shows the county's vision for nodal development. Not sure about natural resources conservation, water and sewer district consolidation study. Maybe check that because that might actually be very important and relevant.
Yep.
The Tompkins County housing strategy, I think, would be useful, and the housing snapshot because, again, I know those documents, they put a lot of context into what our housing needs are. And that might be worthwhile. The Ag and Farmland Protection Plan, I would not include. The aquifer study is interesting. If that is, would that have for Lower Fall Creek? Tell me about that, Gina. Is that
That is not finished.
okay?
That was yeah, we got to, when we talked about that for the HASIG application, our contact over there said, well, we're just finishing up. We still haven't heard anything from him.
Okay. Since we're talking about water and sewer, sort of assuming that this parcel would need that kind of infrastructure, then the aquifer study is maybe not important. Because then you're really talking about well water facilities. I don't know. Well, if it's not ready, it's not ready either.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna edit as we go along, but I just started. So let's go from the top. We're
Okay.
getting rid of vital communities and open space
Yes.
inventory.
Yeah.
Okay, we're leaving comp plan Route 13, Tompkins County, natural resources conservation, water and sewer district consolidation we're leaving.
Wait, we're taking out the conservation plan?
No,
Leaving it?
leaving in, sorry, that's what I thought I heard.
I don't know. I guess the northern parcel, that's in the conservation zone, is that right?
Mhm.
The northern
Yeah.
parcel? So maybe that does need to be in there. Water and sewer, yes. The housing strategy, yes. Come on, that's not what I want.
The agriculture and farmer protection plan, I don't think it's needed there.
Right.
Okay, and then the housing snapshot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the housing strategy is 5 years older than that. The housing snapshot is a way of updating what's been built and what's in process in those 5 years. And they do that every year. So you could check on, they probably have a more current one. The latest one might be 2023 because it takes a while to get them done. So I guess I would say most current.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Terrific. All right. Blah, blah, blah. All right. This is about community meetings. Community meetings. And that was it.
Yep.
Those were my comments anyway. If that's where you know, otherwise I am, you know, looks great. I mean, this is sort of the meat of it. Does this do when Ray talked about it at the last meeting, he talked about this one number, the first bullet there, describing the features of the land. I mean, that's really sort of core information that really doesn't, as far as we know, doesn't exist, right?
Well, I mean, you can look at the unique natural inventory and the waterways, and if there's any endangered or species or anything like that, you can pull that in that information.
And they would have to look at wetlands and all.
Yeah, they would definitely have to look at wetlands.
Okay. All right, if we get this kind of description, I think that would be very helpful. I think the point here is to assemble information that any developer would look at and say, huh, that looks like that's a viable piece of land, right? That's kind of where we're going here, right? So with those changes, I'm certainly happy with it. You know, that's just one county heard from here.
In what way we can add language as to what Tony talked about it, and Chuck somewhat, sort of commented in his email about the larger framework, zoning and actual and happening around this area, you know. Like, it seems to me that we are not actually pointing to some of the larger framework of it.
The framework of what.
I mean, the situation where this particular piece of land is situated, in relationship with the larger, sort of area there, with all like industry and so forth, and all the impact that they may have in, in it. Is it there?
Well, if you look at these plans at the top of page 3, they would get a good sense of it. And I presume, Gina, would you also send out the HACCP application as part of the background information? Because that really states kind of in a good, as an efficient way, states the reason we're doing this, right?
Okay.
All right. Okay.
As kind of an attachment that they should look at.
Mhm. Okay. All right. So this will be ready for maybe the next town meeting, or for November.
For next week.
Okay.
So the town board has to approve this before you can send it out, is that right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. It will be put for as an agenda item.
great, terrific.
So I'm gonna make these changes also. I'm gonna change, it says to enhance the quality of life. I'm on page, let's see. Oh, I'm on the first page here. So B, where it talks about public input, I'm crossing that out. But also, it says so put forth in the Dryden 2045 comprehensive plan update. And it was pointed out in a meeting the other day with ZAG that we should talk about the comprehensive plan because that incorporates the 2005 plan and 2045.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be it should be according to both of them, not just the update. So
Okay.
just cross
So you're
out
cha-
Dryden 44 there.
Okay, so this is what you're changing here?
Yeah, just crossing out the Dryden 2045
Mm-hmm.
an update, just put forth in the comp plan,
Okay.
because that includes the Dryden 45 update.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Actually, you know, instead of sending out the whole HACCP application, where there's probably a lot that's irrelevant, maybe within this section, introduction, background, legislative basis, maybe some of the paragraphs from that just kind of go in here if you feel like that would be efficient. I mean, I think that'd be fine. If you want to put the two documents together in a way.
I guess we can ask Christina and Leonardo in terms of people like absorbing the most information, is it better to have the two different documents or to smush them together?
Well, there is a lot, as Martha said, there's a lot of information in the that not need to be added. But if you think, I mean, it will be harder to just add, into the document as it is,
Mm-hmm.
picking up paragraph from here and there without a context. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I will go for, as an attachment, as part of the attachment of the documentation.
Yeah, I liked that idea too.
Okay, great. That sure's easier.
Yeah.
Because you got it already. Okay, great.
All righty. So that's, if we're all set with that, that's all for today, guys.
Do you have to vote on it and passing that on?
I have no idea.
No.
I assume
Christina
it,
says no.
so we can vote and pass it as sort of to the town board for their,
I
it doesn't.
move to approve the application, the RFP
With the
as
revisions.
discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And so, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Alrighty. So
Great.
I will
anyone
send, I'll
against
send
it?
this one, I'll send the changes out one more time.
All right.
Make sure I got
All
them
right
right.
then.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Great. All
Have a
right.
great day.
Take care.
Yeah, have a
You
great
too.
day.